If you were a fan of the Galaxy Active lineup, then you might find this little guy pretty interesting. This is the Geotel A1, and while it may not be a looker or pack cutting edge specs, for 70 bucks I think it's an interesting device for sure. Geotel was kind enough to sponsor this video, so huge thanks and shout out to them for sending me this device to check out. The phone is not necessarily aimed at the US market, however it does support some of the 2G and 3G bands. You'll need to check out the link below to ensure support with your local carrier and towers before you make a purchase. The specs of the A1 include a 1.3 GHz quad-core MediaTek 6580 and a Mali 400 GPU. It has 1GB of RAM and 8GB of onboard storage. Inside the box you get the Geotel A1 resting right there on top, and under that you're going to find another small packet containing some extra screws and an awful flat-headed screwdriver, which I'll show you what this is used for in just a bit. You'll also get a user guide with some basic info and a warranty card that you'll need to fill out and mail in. At the bottom of the box, you're going to find a wall adapter, which you will need a converter for if you're here in the US, a micro USB cable which is braided, and a set of earbuds that from my use are pretty good. While the Geotel A1 may have ancient specs and sport a not so pretty design, the actual structure of this phone is its selling point. Being made of a hard polycarbonate material and soft beefed up TPU corners for impact absorption, this phone is built to withstand a beating. The top portion of the phone consists of a gasket that can be pulled loose to expose the 3.5mm headphone jack and a micro USB port. One issue I encountered with the micro USB port is that none of my other cables would fit with this design. The 3.5mm headphone jack was fine though, and I was able to use 90% of my headphones without the need of an adapter. The reason for this gasket type design is to maintain the IP67 rating. This means that it's extremely important to make sure you completely seal this area before exposing your phone to dangerous environments. On the left hand side of the device you're going to find your volume up and down buttons, which feel rubberized due to the TPU material. On the right side you're going to find the power button done in the same material. The buttons require a bit of force to be pressed, which is not a huge deal. Tactility is good though thanks to the texture, and they are responsive from my testing. So just how tough is this phone? Well, here's a few tests that I performed. The A1 is a tough little device for sure, but it's also pretty beefy, so if thinness is important to you, then, well, you've been warned. With that said, it provides quite a bit of grip during use and you don't have to worry about any overheating. So remember that screwdriver I showed you in the beginning? Well, that's actually to unscrew the 6 screws that secure the backplate. Once that is removed, it showcases the removable 3400 mAh battery, the dual SIM card slots, and an SD card slot that is expandable up to 64 gigs. The display on the A1 is a 4.5-inch 960 by 540 display made of Gorilla Glass. There's definitely some noticeable pixel action going on, but for the price it's definitely doable. It gets up to 550 nits, which is good for outdoor visibility. Touch responsiveness has not been an issue during my use, and when combined with a solid speaker despite it being on the back, it makes for a pretty good experience when watching videos. Though the specs are underwhelming, the phone runs pretty damn good. This is thanks to the near stock version of Android 7.0 and basically bloat-free experience. I threw Nova Launcher on mine just to give it a true stock experience, and well, it's doing very well. I even played a few games and didn't experience too much stutter. They do take longer to load up, and though they're not super graphic intense games, I was pretty impressed. In terms of battery life, it can easily last you over a day. I wasn't able to fully test out the phone since the lack of cellular compatibility in my area, but just off Wi-Fi use, I was easily getting 2 solid days and going on the 3rd. The Geotel A1 features 2 cameras. You have an 8 megapixel on the back side and a 2 megapixel on the front. Neither are going to blow you away in terms of image quality, especially the front-facing camera. The rear-facing camera is also only capable of recording 480p. So if you're after image quality from your smartphone camera, then you might want to steer clear of this one. Ultimately, this device is not for the spec-crazed hardcore Android fan. It's not for the smartphone photographer that craves pixel and high-resolution video. And it's also not for the person that thrives on the thinnest mobile phone out right now. It's an entry-level budget device geared towards ultimate durability, and that's where this phone succeeds. If your occupation puts your phone at risk from life's hazards such as water damage, drops, or high temperatures, or even dust, then this is the phone for you. On the flip side, if you're buying your child their first smartphone and you want to see how well they can take care of it before spending hundreds of dollars on a flagship, this is a great option. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, do be sure to like, sub, share, comment, and turn on those notifications. And of course, I'll talk to you in the next one. Be easy.